It's that sound every driver knows.
Hmm.
You know, you're cruising down Route 46 or
Or merging onto the parkway.
exactly, merging onto the Parkway in Clifton, doing a solid 65, you've got the music up, minding your own business,
Yeah.
and then smack.
It is so loud.
It's loud, it's startling, and your eyes instantly dart to the windshield, right?
Mm.
And you're just praying. But no, there it is. That little white starburst.
It's basically the universal sound of your day being ruined.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the first thing you think about isn't, safety or the physics of a rock hitting glass at highway speeds.
No, you think about your wallet.
You think about your wallet, you think, great, how much is this going to cost me? And then almost immediately, you probably think, can I just ignore this?
Right.
Because, let's be honest, we've all seen cars driving around New Jersey with those massive cracks spanning the entire dashboard.
Oh, yeah, we definitely have. And I mean, while ignoring it is a very popular strategy.
It's usually the most expensive one.
Exactly. In the long run, it is.
And that is exactly what we are digging into today. We're doing a deep dive into the surprisingly complex world of auto glass repair.
Very complex.
Right, and we're specifically looking at some fascinating local data from Clifton, New Jersey.
Yeah, the sources we pulled are great.
They really are. We're using information and articles from Windshield Replacement LLC in Clifton.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, when I first looked at the outline for this, I thought, okay, it's glass. It breaks, you fix it.
Just a piece of transparent material, right?
Right. But looking at the source material, wow, this is a much bigger topic. We're talking about smart sensors, structural integrity, and a price spread that is honestly kind of baffling.
It really is a rabbit hole. I mean, most people still think of a windshield as just a wind blocker. You know, a piece of see-through plastic or glass that keeps the bugs out of your teeth.
Right.
But on a modern car, that piece of glass it's a piece of technology. It's a lens.
A lens.
Yeah, and when you break it, you aren't just breaking a window. You might actually be blinding your car's computer.
Okay, so that's the mission today. We need to decode that. I want to understand why, for the exact same rock hitting my car, I might get quoted $150 one day and $600 the next.
It's a huge gap.
It is. And I want to know when I can get away with a cheap repair versus when I have to replace the whole thing. And we really need to talk about this calibration fee that keeps popping up in the research.
Oh, the calibration fee.
Yeah, because it sounds suspiciously like an upsell.
It totally sounds like a dealership upsell, doesn't it?
Oh.
But we'll get to why it's actually incredibly critical.
All right, so let's start with the bottom line. I'm a driver in Clifton. A rock from a dump truck on Route 3 just chipped my glass.
Okay.
What am I looking at financially? Because the numbers in the report were just all over the place.
Well, they are all over the place because the variables have changed so drastically in the last few years. But let's look at the baseline data for the Clifton area.
Okay.
If you catch it early, meaning it's just a chip or a very minor crack, you are typically looking at a repair cost between $150 and $300.
Okay, stop there for a second. $150 to $300 to fix a chip.
Yep.
That actually feels kind of steep. I feel like I remember seeing guys in, grocery store parking lots doing this for $20 10 years ago.
Parking lot tents. Yeah, those days are mostly gone. Or at least they definitely shouldn't be your go-to.
Why is a dab of resin costing up to $300 now?
Well, you're paying for the technology of the repair, which we'll get into, but also the guarantee that the structural integrity of the car is actually back to factory standards.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
And you have to compare that $150 to the alternative. If you let that chip go and it spreads into a
I
crack,
bet you will.
it always does, then you're in replacement territory. And that starts at maybe $200 for a basic older economy car.
But for a modern car.
For most modern vehicles, you are immediately looking at $500, and it can easily go well over $1,000 depending on the tech packages.
See, that is the part I struggle with. A $200 to $1,000 spread, that is massive.
It is.
Is glass just glass? Why does the car model matter so much?
Because glass is definitely not just glass anymore. First, you have the physical shape.
Right.
Older cars had relatively flat windshields, easy to make, easy to ship. Modern cars, they are these highly aerodynamic bubbles.
Okay.
The glass has very complex curves. Plus, they have acoustic layers built in to block road noise and rain sensors actually embedded in the glass. Manufacturing that is incredibly expensive.
So if I drive a luxury car, I'm paying a luxury tax on the glass.
Essentially, yes, you are. And then you have the battle of OEM versus aftermarket.
Right, I see this on car forums all the time. ODM is original equipment manufacturer, right?
Correct. That is glass made by the exact same factory that made the glass for Ford or BMW or Toyota. It
Okay.
is branded, it fits perfectly. Aftermarket is a third-party company making a copy.
And it's cheaper.
The copy might be cheaper, yeah, but sometimes the curvature is off by a fraction of a millimeter or the optical clarity isn't quite 100% perfect.
Does that fraction of a millimeter actually matter, though? Or is that just, car purists being fussy?
For the driver's eyes, maybe not. You probably wouldn't notice. But for the car's computer,
Ah.
it matters a lot, and that's a key reason for that huge price jump.
We'll get to the computer stuff in a minute because I'm still a little skeptical about how sensitive these systems really are.
Fair enough.
But let's stick to the decision-making process for a second. I'm standing in my driveway. I see the damage. How do I know right then and there if I can get away with the $150 repair or if I'm doomed to the full replacement?
You need to do a quick visual assessment. There are 2 rules of thumb that the auto glass industry uses, and they are surprisingly low-tech.
I love low-tech.
The first is the quarter rule.
Like a standard U.S. quarter.
A standard quarter. Take one out of your pocket and place it right over the chip. If the damage, so the whole starburst or the bullseye is completely covered by the quarter, you are in the green zone,
Yeah.
meaning that is almost always repairable by a professional.
Okay. That's easy enough.
Oh, okay.
What if it's a line, not a chip?
Then you use the 6-inch rule. Generally, if a crack is shorter than 6 inches, which is roughly the length of a dollar bill,
Yeah.
it can be repaired.
Okay, so a dollar bill.
Right. If it's longer than that dollar bill, the structural integrity is just too compromised. The resin won't be able to hold the glass together safely under stress.
So quarter for chips, dollar for cracks. If it's smaller than money, you save money.
That's a great way to remember it. But there is a massive caveat here, and this is where people get really frustrated.
Let me guess. The location.
Exactly. It's about where the damage is. You could have a tiny chip, smaller than a dime even, but if it is directly in the driver's line of sight, that patch of glass right in front of your face, a reputable shop will often refuse to repair it.
Really, even if it's tiny, that seems a little aggressive.
It's about optics and safety. Even the absolute best repair in the world leaves a slight blemish.
Like a smudge.
Yeah, it might look like a dried water spot or a little smudge. If that spot is right where you focus your eyes while driving, it can cause severe eye strain.
Oh, I hate that.
Or worse, it can actually hide a pedestrian or a hazard at night. When oncoming headlights hit it and cause a glare, it becomes a major safety liability.
I guess I can see that. You don't want a permanent blind spot right
Yeah.
in your vision.
Right.
What about the edges? I've heard if a crack touches the edge of the windshield, it's game over.
That is usually true. The edge of the windshield is where the tension is highest. That's where the windshield is literally glued to the metal frame of the car.
Okay.
If a crack reaches the edge, the integrity of that bond is totally threatened. It's much more likely to spread instantly or even cause the glass to pop loose in an accident.
Okay, speaking of spreading, why does that happen? I feel like everyone has that story where they have a tiny chip, they ignore it for 3 weeks, and then one morning they come out and it's a 2-foot crack.
It's basic physics, specifically thermal shock.
Okay.
Glass expands when it's hot and contracts when it's cold. Now think about Clifton in February.
It's freezing.
Exactly. Your car is sitting outside, it's 20 degrees, the glass is contracted, it's brittle, and it's cold. You get in, start the car, and immediately blast the defroster.
Which is blowing hot air directly onto the inside bottom of the glass.
Exactly. So the bottom of the glass heats up and expands very rapidly, while the top of the windshield is still freezing and contracted.
And that stress has to go somewhere.
Bingo. If you have a chip, that's your weak point. Snap. The crack runs straight across the glass.
So the defroster is basically the enemy of the chipped windshield.
In the winter, absolutely yes. In the summer, it's the AC. Same exact principle, just reversed.
You get to a hot car and blast cold air on it.
Right. That's why the advice is always fix it immediately. You are literally racing against the weather.
All right, let's move to the part of the research that honestly blew my mind a little bit. The hidden tech.
The ADS systems.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that the windshield is a lens. I want to push back on this just a bit because it sounds a little like marketing speak. My car is a 2018. It has cruise control and lane assist. Are you telling me the actual glass of the windshield is part of those systems?
It is entirely integral to those systems. This is the big aha moment for modern car owners. Look at the top center of your windshield, right near the rearview mirror.
Okay.
You'll usually see a little triangular notch in the black tint, or maybe a cluster of black dots. Right behind that glass is a forward-facing camera and sometimes a laser or radar sensor.
Okay, yeah. I've seen that little plastic box behind the mirror.
That camera is actively looking through the windshield to see the lane lines, to read speed limit signs, and to detect the car in front of you for the automatic emergency braking.
Wow.
Now imagine you replace the windshield. The new glass might look completely perfect to your eye. But suppose the curvature is off by just 1 degree, or the glass has a microscopic wave in it right in front of that camera lens.
It distorts the image, like looking through a funhouse mirror.
Precisely. And if the image is distorted, the car's computer gets bad data. It might think the car in front of you is 50 feet away when it's actually only 30 feet away.
Oh, wow.
Or it might think you're drifting out of your lane when you're actually dead center, and it tries to steer you into the next lane.
So the car reacts to a reality that doesn't actually exist. That sounds incredibly dangerous.
It's incredibly dangerous. That is exactly why manufacturers require calibration whenever the glass is replaced. And this is the cost that catches people totally off guard.
Yeah, let's talk about the cost. The data shows this calibration adds $150 to $300 to the bill.
It does.
For what? Are they just plugging a laptop into the OBD port and hitting reset? Because $300 for a reset is wild.
No, and that's why the price is high. It's highly labor intensive. There are 2 different ways to do it depending on the car. One is static calibration. The technician has to set up a strictly controlled environment. They place these very specific target boards. They look like large geometric patterns or QR codes on stands at very precise distances and heights from the car. We are talking laser-measured millimeter precision.
So they're setting up an eye chart for the car.
That is exactly what it is, an eye chart. And the lighting in the shop has to be perfectly even. The floor has to be completely level. If the target is off by a few millimeters, the calibration fails. The car scans these targets to reorient its camera to 0.
That sounds intense. And what's the other method?
Dynamic calibration. This requires the technician to actually take the car out on the road. They have to drive at a very specific speed, usually on a highway with perfectly clear lane markings for a set amount of time. The computer basically learns and calibrates from the real world as they drive.
So in Clifton, that means they're driving my car up and down Route 46 or Route 3, hoping for perfectly clear traffic and variable lane lines.
Which, as anyone driving in Clifton knows, is a challenge in itself. That drive time costs money. You're paying for a highly skilled technician to drive your car for an hour. That's why you can't just go to the cheapest guy in a shed anymore. If they don't have the calibration equipment, your safety systems just won't work.
That puts the $300 in perspective, honestly. It's not a reset button fee. It's a skilled labor and lab equipment fee.
Right. And if you skip it, your dashboard is going to light up like a Christmas tree. Or worse, your automatic braking engages when it sees a shadow on the highway.
Unbelievable. Well, let's pivot to the actual repair process.
Yeah.
Say I'm lucky, I caught the chip early, I'm in the $150 range.
Yes.
What are they actually doing to my car? I ask because I've seen the DIY kits at the auto parts store for like $15. Why shouldn't I just buy the little tube of goop and do it myself?
I love the DIY spirit, I really do, but this is one area where I strongly advise against it.
Really?
Here's why. The professional repair isn't just filling the hole, it's a literal surgery on the glass. The first thing a pro does is clean the chip. They use a drill or a metal probe to pick out every microscopic shard of loose glass.
Wait, a drill? On my windshield?
Yeah, a tiny dental burr, essentially. Because if they leave dirt or crushed glass dust in there, the repair will look cloudy and the bond will be very weak.
Okay, that makes sense.
Then they attach an injector tool directly over the chip. This tool cycles between pressure and a vacuum.
Why a vacuum?
To suck all the air out. A chip is full of tiny air pockets. If you just squirt resin on top, like with a DIY kit, the air is trapped underneath.
And it won't seal properly.
Exactly. The repair will fail. The Pro tool sucks the air out, creating a vacuum inside the crack, and then forces the specialized resin in under high pressure. Much higher pressure than you can generate with a generic plastic syringe from a $15 kit.
And then they cure it with UV light, right?
Right.
So the DIY kit might make it look slightly better on the surface, but deep down structurally, it's still broken.
Often, yes. And here is the kicker. If that DIY repair fails, a professional cannot re-repair it.
Because the hole is plugged.
The cured, bad resin is in the way. You can't get it out. So you've now bought yourself a full windshield replacement.
That is a very expensive $15 mistake.
Huge mistake.
What about the replacement process? Is that just cut and paste? pull the old one out, slap the new one in?
Oh, it's heavy lifting. It's a 2 to 3 hour job. And
Yeah.
the most critical part is removing the old glass without scratching the pinch weld.
The pinch weld.
That's the metal frame of the car that the glass sits on.
Why does a scratch matter? It's going to be covered by thick glue anyway.
Because if the technician scratches the paint down to the bare metal and then glues the windshield over it, water will eventually get in.
Oh, no.
It will rust. And you won't see the rust because it's under the glass until it eats completely through the frame and you suddenly have a water leak inside the car or the windshield actually becomes loose.
That's a nightmare.
A good technician uses specialized blades and wire systems to ensure they never touch the bare metal.
And then there is the wait time. I've heard people complain about this. The shop says the car is done, but you can't have it for another hour.
Yeah, that is the safe drive away time. The adhesive they use, it's a heavy-duty urethane, needs to cure.
Right.
It needs to harden enough to hold the glass firmly in place during a collision. If you drive off too early and hit a pothole, the heavy glass could shift, breaking the seal. Or, if you get into an accident and the airbag deploys, the windshield could just fly completely off the car.
Wait, the airbag can blow the windshield off?
Yes. The passenger airbag actually uses the windshield as a backstop. It fires upward, hits the inside of the glass, and then bounces toward the passenger to protect them.
Oh my God.
If the windshield isn't glued on tight, the force of the airbag just blows the window out into the street and provides zero protection for the passenger.
Wow. Okay. That is terrifying. It really drives home the point that this glass is a major structural component, not just a window to look out of.
Absolutely. In a rollover accident, the windshield provides up to 45% of the cabin's structural strength.
45%.
Yeah, it literally keeps the roof from crushing you.
Okay, you have successfully scared me out of ever doing a DIY repair or rushing a mechanic. Let's talk about some good news, specifically for our listeners in New Jersey. The source material mentions the Jersey Advantage. What is that?
This is a huge win for NJ drivers. In a lot of states, if you have a comprehensive insurance deductible of, say, $500 and a chip repair costs $150, you just pay the $150 out of pocket.
Right, because it's under the deductible.
Exactly. But in New Jersey, many comprehensive insurance policies cover windshield repairs, the chip fixing we talked about, at 100% with zero deductible.
So it's free.
To you at the point of service, yes. You show your insurance card, they fix the chip, and you pay absolutely nothing.
Why are insurance companies who are, not exactly known for their generosity doing this?
It's pure math. They are playing the odds. They would much rather pay Windshield Replacement LLC $100 or $150 today to fix a small chip than pay $1,000 for a full replacement and ADS calibration next month. Or, frankly, pay a $50,000 medical claim because the roof collapsed in an accident due to a weakened windshield. It's purely a loss prevention strategy.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So if you live in Clifton, you basically have no excuse not to get a chip fixed the second it happens.
Not at all. And if you do need a full replacement, you should check your policy. Some NJ policies also offer a specific glass endorsement that lowers or completely waives the deductible for full replacements too.
Now, we've talked a lot about Clifton specifically today. The outline mentioned the Clifton factor.
Yeah.
Is there something unique about that specific area that just hates windshields?
It's basically a perfect storm of glass destruction. First, you have the infrastructure. Clifton is crisscrossed by major arteries, Route 3, Route 46, the Garden State Parkway.
Oh, yeah. Heavy traffic.
Very heavy. And these are heavy trucking routes. Dump trucks, construction vehicles, 18-wheelers picking up rocks in their massive treads and flinging them backward at 70 miles an hour.
The classic projectile weapon.
Right. Then add the ongoing construction. I mean, Route 3 seems like it has been under construction since the dawn of time.
Seriously.
That generates endless gravel and debris. And finally, the weather. We have humid, hot summers and freezing, icy winters. That thermal cycling we talked about earlier, it's brutal in the Northeast. A chip that might comfortably survive a mild winter in North Carolina won't survive a single February in Clifton.
So if you live here, you are just statistically more likely to need this service.
Yes. Which is why mobile service is such a big deal there.
Yeah.
The sources heavily emphasize this. Companies like Windshield Replacement LLC will actually come to your office or your driveway.
Almost convenient.
Given the traffic in Clifton, not having to drive to a shop and sit in a waiting room for 3 hours is a major selling point. They bring the repair to you.
Okay, let's wrap this up with a clear action plan. I'm the listener. I just heard the smack. My heart rate is up. What are my 3 steps?
Step 1. Pull over safely and look at it. Use the quarter rule. If it's smaller than a quarter, do not wait. Call a pro immediately. In NJ, it's likely free anyway, and it saves the factory seal of your windshield.
Step 2.
If it's a crack longer than a dollar bill, or if it's in your direct line of sight, accept that you need a full replacement. But, and this is key, ask about calibration right up front.
Don't get surprised by the bill.
Exactly. Don't be blindsided by a $300 cost. Ask the shop, does my car need calibration, and do you do it in-house? You really don't want to go to a shop that replaces the glass and then tells you, oh, you need to go to the dealership for the calibration.
That's a great tip. And step 3.
Use a local expert. The national chains are fine, but a local Clifton shop knows the specific New Jersey insurance norms and the local driving conditions. And please, skip the DIY kit. Your roof strength and a rollover is worth a lot more than the $50 you might save.
It really changes the way you look at the car. We used to worry about the engine blowing up or the transmission failing. Now a pebble can take down your advanced safety systems.
It's true. We are rapidly moving toward a world where the car is basically a computer on wheels, and the windshield is the monitor.
Yeah.
You wouldn't use a cracked monitor to do precise graphic design work, and you definitely shouldn't ask your car to drive you down the highway looking through broken glass.
That is a fascinating and kind of provocative thought. As we get closer and closer to autonomous driving, the passenger stops looking out the windshield as much, and the car becomes the only one looking.
Exactly.
The windshield stops being for us and starts being entirely for the machine.
And if that machine can't see, it can't drive. We might actually reach a point soon where a cracked windshield doesn't just get you a fix-it ticket, it simply prevents the car from starting.
A total system failure due to a pebble. That is the future we are driving into. Big thanks to the data from Windshield Replacement LLC for helping us unpack all of this today. It's clearly a lot more than just clear stuff that keeps the bugs out of your teeth.
It certainly is. Keep your eyes on the road, everyone.
And we'll catch you on the next deep dive.